Chapter 14. The discrimination of the three gunas. These are the three qualities in nature: goodness, action, and ignorance. And it's these qualities of nature that the veil of Maya and the illusion of the world revolves. The importance of understanding this is if you go beyond these forces of nature, then you transcend that which is the highest, become the witness to everything that changes, and becomes the goal of life. You're no longer perturbed by it. And I'll begin, because this is important knowledge here. So Krishna, in discerning the three gunas, he says, "Once more I will expound that supreme knowledge, the most exalted of all forms of knowledge, and by gaining of which all the sages have attained the highest perfection after passing from this world. They who have devoted themselves to this knowledge, having partaken of my nature, are not born again at the time of creation, nor are they troubled at the time of dissolution. They can endure the changes, or they've gone beyond the pairs of opposites." So this, in no way should it be perceived as one has a disregard for nature, or by renunciation it's a complete turning away from nature in the world. What is being said is to rise above the pair of opposites. So one is still aware of these forces, which we'll get into. And these forces are your nature, the forces of nature. But you're not pulled or lured into it, neither attached nor averse. So this is actually a complete opening up to the world. So I'll go on. Nature, says Krishna, is my womb. In that I place the seed, where all things are born, O Bharata. So nature here is given a feminine quality of manifestation, that which all appearances are born through the union of matter and spirit. Everything that appears, all names and mental creations, arise from nature. And the seed the one that plants the seed within nature is said to be the highest self. This is like the mother and the father. Nature is the mother, and then we have the seed-giving father, Prakriti and Purusha. So whatever form is produced, that results from the union of these two, the seed-giving father and the womb-bearing mother, nature and spirit. Know that whatever form is produced in any womb, nature is its womb, and I am the seed-giving father. So, even the names mother and father we attribute to the qualities of the self. This text was even referring to Brahman, which we have noted as the highest object of knowledge, the goal of knowledge. And in this text, it's referring to a feminine quality of that which receives, that which holds and nourishes the seed of your own growth and potential. So, interesting that it's not fixed, nor is it sexist, because previous chapters it was reversed. Brahman was given a masculine quality as the all, the Purusha, the supreme, the sovereign, the ruler. And I would say Brahman is the womb. So it's not fixed. And the gunas, the forces of nature. Sanskrit words are good. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. They're sufficient because the English equivalent, which is goodness, action, and ignorance, it may not do justice to understand that these forces here, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, really pervades all manifestations and all modifications of nature, which are born from Prakriti, nature. These are forces that revolve, they bind the body. You're asked, like, why is the body so formed in such geometrical patterns and intelligent? It's these qualities, that your nature is intelligent, and it binds fast in the body the immortal one, the embodied highest self. So the immortal one is your true nature, which is beyond these forces of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Of these, this will be explained. Remember that nature has eightfold attributes: the five elements, the intellect, ego, and understanding, or the discerning faculty. And of these, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas pervade all 8 of these attributes of nature. You have the good qualities, right, residing like in the discerning faculty, like the I, the pure self. And then you start having more of like the Rajasic qualities, the active, the I, me, mine, that now wants to claim, possess, and wants to be active part of the world that it perceives as out there. And then you have Tamas, the ignorance, the veil that's cast over the field, the collective. It's like darkness and light, and then the activity of the various rays in between. So of these, Sattva is the quality of goodness, it being completely pure, stainless, luminous, and healthful, good for your being. It's just goodness, pure goodness. It binds, and also, you know that there's, speaking of it, once it's spoken into existence, automatically there are polarities. So while I speak of the goodness, one can also be attached and craving for it. And this creates a bondage to happiness and to knowledge itself. That's just like the pride of being right, or just wanting to rest in the joy of Brahman itself and neglecting the world. You see, this is important that there's a balance between these 3 forces. So the attachment to joy, okay, and the attachment to knowledge. Knowledge being the knower, the one who knows, and you relate. Hey, I know that. Yeah. So that's Sattva. It's good. It's balancing. Remember that our body as well carries these 3 gunas. Sattva in the middle, Rajas on the right, Tamas on the left. Sattva, the pure good. So, and we have Rajas. This is the active quality of nature. Know that Rajas is the essence of the passion, desire, and the cause for the thirst and attachment. It binds the embodied one through attachment to action. But we see this attachment to action in the worldly desires. I need to get stuff done. I'm anxious. What am I going to do for work? What am I going to eat? Revolve around the sense of I, me, and mine. So like the understanding, you could also understand as Sattva. The ego, you can understand as Rajasic in its nature. It's very I, me, and mine, getting things done. I need to be active. And it's related also to the quality of blood, which has an outward pulsation flowing to the extremities. This was meant by the essence of desire, the essence of passion, the essence of thirst, which has water-like quality, blood-like, while Sattva has like a pranic-like quality of subtle etheric energy. So then we have, so there's Sattva, Rajas, and we have Tamas. Tamas is the quality of ignorance. It's the centralizing faculty, but also the quality that casts a veil of darkness, and also a veil of darkness that can be cast over the eyes of others so that they start to act for your behalf. This is where control is necessary on a practical level, as if you want to kind of cast that veil over your own body so you can reestablish self-control, regain control to the Indra, the chief of the celestials, residing in the third eye center of the moon, the hippocampus. So Sattva binds, so that Tamas is born of ignorance. Yeah, qualities of this are restfulness, but also laziness, lethargy. It's the deluding quality that works opposite to Sattva, where Sattva raises one to knowledge. The Tamas, it actually binds one to materiality, to matter, and to artificial intelligence. It binds by inadvertentness. It binds by indolence, this is sleep, restlessness, and laziness. So the three gunas, forces of nature, Sattva, they can all attach. So Sattva can bind you to clinging to happiness. Rajas can bind you by clinging to activity and action. And Tamas binds by casting a veil over knowledge of who you really are, and binds through inadvertence, inactivity, not wanting to act for the betterment of the world. And these qualities are always present, but some are more predominant than others. We know this within medicine as well as the three koshas in Ayurvedic medicine, Pitta, Kapha, and Vata, related to these three gunas. There's too much Pitta is too much fire, okay? Too much Vata is too much Sattva, attachment to joy. Too much Kapha, just the water and the earth, is can be related to too much lethargy, like too much of the earth and dullness. So Sattva asserts itself when it prevails over Rajas and Tamas. So the goodness prevails when it's you have a lot of goodness and it's overriding the activity and the lethargy. Yeah, we see this through the radiance in one's eyes. Rajas can prevail over Sattva and Tamas, and Tamas can prevail over Sattva and Rajas, like when you're completely lazy in the middle of the night, or when you're overactive in the middle of the day. That's when Rajas can prevail over Tamas and Sattva. So we see these qualities of what prevails. Like when Sattva prevails, the light of knowledge shines through all the gateways. The gateways, remember, you can see through the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, etc. It shines through the gateways of the body. And then you know that Sattva, goodness, has prevailed. You know Rajas has prevailed when you see overactivity, greed, lust, desire, overreaching, or maybe overstepping one's boundaries, enterprise, endeavors to start business, etc., unrest, a longing of the heart. These arise, O Bharata, when Rajas prevails. the outward pulsation, like the solar energy. So Tamas prevails when darkness overrises. The veil of sleep that's been cast over the eyes, darkness, indolence, laziness, inadvertence, and delusion, confusion. All these arise when Tamas prevails. And your whole life, the cycle of life and death, is directly influenced by these forces of nature. So if the embodied one meets with death, when Sattva prevails, it goes to the heavenly realms. With the state of mind and the state of goodness, Sattva travels upwards. So it knows that which is the highest. So the embodied soul, if it meets death when Rajas prevails, it is born among those who are attached to action. If it meets with death when Tamas prevails, it is born in the womb of creatures devoid of reason. So when Sattva prevails, it travels upward, the upward path. When Rajas prevails, you're just taking constant rebirth and samsara in the realm of activity, still needing to do. You're drawn by the winds of your own karma. And when Tamas, the energy of lethargy, prevails, it takes a downward ascent, downward path. So the fruit of these actions is said to be, so the fruit of good, of Sattva, is pure. You know this, it's like there's no shame in these actions. You can enjoy the purity of this knowledge, as this purity is your highest self. So the fruit of Rajas, because there's longing and attachment, the fruit of it is pain, sorrow, virtually, that all meetings come to an end. All meetings end in parting, etc. And then the fruit of Tamas is confusion. Your sleep, you're confused what's real, what's not real. So from Sattva springs knowledge and wisdom. From Rajas springs lust and desire. So from Tamas springs confusion and ignorance, sleep. So that these forces are always prevalent. Those who are established in Sattva travel upwards. Those who are moved by Rajas remain in the middle. And those who are steeped in Tamas, they move downwards. And every being, even these cycles, are in the day. You have the cycle at night where tamasic energy becomes prevalent and you want to rest. You have the cycle in the morning where you want to be more active. So the rajasic qualities are being engaged. Give me my cup of coffee. I need to get stimulated. Let me do Kapalabhati. And then Sattva, you're finding the equilibrium throughout the day. The equilibrium is the balance between the two poles. So when the man who has the insight, the wisdom, the understanding, he's able to behold no doer here other than the forces of nature. That the forces of nature that arise through the 8 modifications of nature are the ones that are actually doing. Then he is said to have gone beyond, transcend the forces of nature and attained my being, which is, when he refers to my being, this is the state of identicalness with Brahman. And Brahman is your nature, Satchidananda, completely pure consciousness. And the result of remaining detached from these forces of nature is that, remember, then Sattva prevails and one travels upwards along this path and attains that immortal state. And Brahman is neither being nor non-being, so it does not die. Only that which is born dies. So when the embodied soul rises above the 3 gunas with the body, it gains deliverance from birth, old age, sickness, and death, and it becomes immortal. Immortal because it becomes identical with its true self. You know that this is actually an effortless identification. It happens through transcendence and surrender rather than through the rajasic qualities of, I need to attain my immortal self. Remember, that is tamas that veils this illusion. And even the tamasic quality can veil one's true nature. It veils knowledge through ignorance. Yes, yes. It's all connected. These forces of nature they're so interdependent. Huge, huge, huge. So then Arjuna asked Krishna, what are the marks and signs of a man who has risen above the forces of nature, and what is his conduct? How does he behave, and how does he rise above these qualities? And Krishna cut into the chase. Remember, in previous chapters, he said yoga is equanimity. It remains equanimous. It's restated here in a different way. He neither hates light, action, or confusion. It means he's risen above the three qualities of nature. When they are present, he does not long for them. When they are moved, he has released all the desire for them, and he's not upset when they're absent. He sits like one who is undetached, unconcerned. He's unmoved by the forces when they arise and when they fall. He remains firm. He's not swayed. And he knows that the gunas alone are active. Even in the sense of a doership, he sees the gunas, the qualities and forces of nature are the doership. And he is not the doer. His nature does, as the gunas. So he rests in this knowledge of sattva. Remember, knowledge in the previous chapter was terminologically explained as the knower of the field and the one who knows the field. So the knower and the field is true knowledge. So he has transcended the field, which is comprised of the three forces of nature, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, names the knower, the identity of Brahman, existence, consciousness, and bliss. So he dwells in the self, he dwells in Brahman, and regards alike pleasure, pain. He looks on with equal mind on clod of stone, dirt, gold, as all being equal, just manifestations arising, coming, going. And he remains the same, equanimous, amidst what is said, whether it's agreeable or disagreeable, equanimous in mind. And it is said that is a man of wisdom, who he sees no difference even between being praised for his knowledge or being blamed for things being done or said incorrectly. He remains neutral, unswayed, unperturbed. So these are the indications of a man who has transcended the forces of nature and has understood the field and the knower of the field. So he is the same in honor and dishonor, the same to friend and foe, and he has renounced all undertakings. And remember, the renunciation is not you don't act. That's a tamasic quality. The renunciation of undertakings is the fruit of one's actions, the fruit being pleasure, pain, gain, loss, praise, blame, fame, infamy. These fruits have gone beyond and surrendered. And says such a man is said to have arisen above the forces of nature. Yeah. So, how does he do this? How does he attain this transcendence? He does so because he worships me. He worships the indwelling, equanimous, unborn self with the yoga of an unswerving love, and goes beyond the forces of nature by reaching that identicality, the identity of Brahman, which is one's true self. Undeviating love. So this requires a heart that's open. I mean, you could possibly do it through some faculty of inductive reasoning through the mind, like in the Samkhya philosophy, like understanding with the discerning wisdom, not that, I'm not this, I'm not the body, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the speech, etc. Till you come to rest in who you really are by cutting away everything you're not. The knowledge is not excluded here, but love is indicated as that which allows one to transcend the qualities of nature and to rise above and recognize one's true self as the touch of pure bliss, Satchidananda. For it is said that this state of pure love, this is the abode of even Brahman itself. When you attain this identicalness with nature, your true self is the home, the refuge. And since it's beyond birth and death at this point, and it's witnessed the field, the knower has witnessed the field, and this is true knowledge. It's gone beyond the pairs of opposites and everything that will change. And so is said to be immortal, because only that which changes dies. Everything that which is born must perish. And it is unchanging, immutable, and it's an eternal dharma. It means an all-pervading good, and is the absolute of bliss. That is taking refuge through this path of love and devotion into that which you already are, by transcendence of forces of nature which keep you going in the round of birth, old age, sickness, and death. That this is possible, it can be transcended, it can be done, and the knowledge is there. Remember that these forces are prevalent in everything. We see this trinity even within the Trimurti of Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Brahma representing Sattva, Vishnu representing activity, Rajas, Shiva representing destruction, Tamas. We see this within the sun, the earth, and the moon. Okay. We have the earth representing goodness, Sattva. We have the sun representing activity, Rajas. We have the moon representing darkness, Tamas. And this trinity, again and again, will be explained that everything, even the words, I could be speaking from a good melodic tone. It possibly excites you. It's inspiring. You feel inspired. It's very sattvic. Or I could be speaking from a rajasic, overactive, go man, you need to go, you need to get it done. Or I could be speaking from tamasic and just bore you. So know that these qualities of nature, they're always there. There to be transcended if one were to reach absolute bliss. One's true nature as the home and the refuge, the abode, the unchanging, and the nameless. Thank you. I'll see you in the next chapter, The Way of the Supreme Self.